Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists. In minutes, the movie begins in Free City with a man descending from the sky wearing sunglasses. We learn that in this city, anyone wearing sunglasses possesses superpowers. These individuals don't care about others and do whatever they want because the laws don't apply to them. We see this man shooting at the police and destroying their cars, then casually escaping as no one can do anything to stop them. We are then introduced to an ordinary man named Guy, who wakes up in the morning to start his routine job at the bank. He always wears the same outfit, and despite living in a city full of crime, he loves his city. He buys the same coffee every day and meets his best friend, Buddy, who works as a security guard at the bank where Guy is employed. The two witness a robbery in progress but act normally since this happens daily. Guy is always cheerful, despite seeing so much crime around him. He believes he has everything in life except for one thing, the love of his life. He thought he'd never find someone he truly loves. Suddenly, criminals break into the bank, and Buddy, the security guard who was supposed to act, simply drops his weapon and lies on the ground with Guy. They chat while waiting for the robbery to end. Guy describes his dream girl to Buddy. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, we meet a woman named Molotov, wearing sunglasses, meaning she's a superhero. She talks to someone about a map she wants, takes it from him, kills him effortlessly, and walks through the city to her next destination. Guy and Buddy finish their work and happen to see Molotov. Guy is mesmerized by her beauty and freezes in place, telling Buddy, "That's my dream girl." Guy decides to approach her, but Buddy tries to stop him, saying, "She's wearing sunglasses. People like her don't talk to ordinary folks." But Guy insists on trying. As he crosses the street, a train hits him, and he disappears. We then discover that Free City and this world are just a game played by a girl named Millie, who created the character Molotov to look exactly like her. Millie has to log off the game because the cafe she's in is closing. The next day in the game, Guy wakes up to start his routine, but this time, instead of ordering his usual coffee, he asks for a cappuccino as a change. Everyone around him is surprised and stares at him. Feeling uneasy, he tells the waiter he wants his regular coffee. At the bank, the same gang arrives to rob it again. Guy sees the woman he's infatuated with crossing the street. Buddy reminds him that he tried talking to her yesterday, but failed, saying you can't talk to people wearing sunglasses. Guy decides to confront one of the robbers and asks for his sunglasses. A real-life girl is playing as this robber. When Guy tries to take the sunglasses, the robber punches him, knocking him down, but Guy doesn't give up. He manages to kill the robber with their weapon and takes the sunglasses, increasing his chances of talking to Molotov. When Guy puts on the sunglasses, he sees life completely differently, with massive signs and labels everywhere. He notices a first aid kit on the ground, but when he removes the sunglasses, it disappears. Touching the kit heals him completely, including the injury from the robber. He walks around the city to explore this new world and sees a boy who dies in an accident. After the boy's death, the money he had floats in the air, and Guy collects it, surprised to see his bank balance increase. Meanwhile, in the real world, we meet a man named Keys, who works at a company called Tsunami, the creators of Free City. We learn there's a glitch in the game caused by Guy, because Guy is a non-playable character, NPC, and not controlled by any player. Keys tries to access the game's code to delete Guy, but strangely, he can't find Guy on the game's servers. He shares this with his colleague Mauser, who suggests that someone might have hacked the game. However, Keys is certain that's not the case. They decide to enter the game with new characters to talk to Guy. At that moment, Guy is buying new shoes and wants to enter a place Molotov had gone to. Keys and Mauser arrive in a police car and speak to him, asking him to reveal his true identity so they can delete him from the game. Guy doesn't understand their words, and they think he's lying. They try to shoot him, but Guy escapes, hiding in a construction site. They follow him there, attempting to kill him. Guy discovers he has a new superpower in his shoes, allowing him to jump 3 times high. He initially struggles to use this power, but eventually makes a high jump, landing on top of the building. Keyes and Mauser, being game developers, modify the construction site to add stairs for themselves. Guy runs across a suspended bridge, trying to grab a hanging rope but fails and falls. He activates a shock-absorbing ability, creating a bubble that cushions his fall. He lands safely on the ground, thinking he's escaped, but Keyes and Mauser hit him with their car, sending him flying. They assume they've killed him, but Keyes notices the NPC count in the game hasn't decreased, meaning Guy is still alive. Keyes seems unhappy working for this company, especially under its boss, Antoine. We flash back to 6 years earlier, learning that Keyes and Millie worked together on a game called Life Itself, which had a concept similar to Free City. The two were in an interview discussing their game. Millie developed the AI, while Keyes coded the game. Antoine was supposed to buy their game's design. Millie is revealed to be the real-life version of Molotov, the character Guy is infatuated with. Returning to the present, Keyes goes back to his home. He's surprised to find Millie at his house. Millie was blaming him for working at Antoine's company because it turned out that Antoine had stolen the game's programming from Keyes and Millie and didn't pay them any money. However, Keyes worked for him because he convinced himself that Antoine didn't steal anything from them, thinking it was just a coincidence of ideas. But Millie told him otherwise, saying he stole their idea and programming, changed some details, and turned it into a silly game. She asked, "How can you work for his company? I want you to help me so we can take revenge on him." She also said, "I found evidence in the game that will help us defeat Antoine." But Keyes refused to help her because he didn't want to risk losing his job. So she had no choice but to continue her mission alone. The next day, when he woke up, he promised himself that everything would change that day. He decided to wear something different this time. Meanwhile, she was playing as her character, Molotov, and wanted to go to the castle that was marked on the map she had taken earlier because there was a videotape she wanted. When she reached the castle, she saw that the place was heavily guarded. Suddenly, Guy arrived next to her. She got nervous, knocked him down and asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "I was watching you from the train because I wanted to get to know you." Suddenly, the guards started attacking them. A fierce exchange of fire broke out between Millie and the guards. Afterward, Millie pulled out a gun and opened a portal to another place. They entered the portal, escaping and reaching a different place, which turned out to be Millie's weapons storage. Guy was surprised to see all the weapons and motorcycles she had. Millie thought a real person was playing as Guy, and didn't know that Guy was just a secondary character in the game that no one played as. He told her that he wanted to help her with her mission. She replied, "You can't because your level in the game needs to be high. For example, I'm at level 195, but you're still at level 1. He asked how he could level up. Millie told him, "You complete missions in the game, kill people, and take their money." But Guy refused, saying, "I can't hurt innocent people." She was very surprised by his words and said, "If you don't want to kill people, you can help them, save them from robberies and killings, and steal weapons from bad people. That will increase your level in the game. When you reach level 100, I'll let you help me with my mission." Guy agreed and left. The next day, he went out into the street, put on the glasses, and started trying to complete missions. When he got shot and died, he woke up the next day as if nothing had happened. Guy began doing good deeds, helping people. At first, the people in the game didn't pay much attention to Guy because he was a secondary character, so they didn't consider him important. Amazingly, Guy started becoming famous in the real world. The people playing the game were surprised by him because he was doing good deeds, helping people, and outperforming older players of the game. They became curious to know who was playing as Guy. Guy's character became increasingly famous, and everyone was talking about him. Kids even started dressing like him. Guy kept leveling up, becoming skilled in combat, and eventually reached level 102. He then went to his friend Buddy, who scolded him for not coming to the bank for a long time. Guy told him about meeting the girl he liked and shared his experience with the glasses. He invited Buddy to join him so they could do missions together and live their lives to the fullest. Meanwhile, a criminal broke into the bank and pointed a gun at Guy. but Guy stopped him, took his gun, and took his glasses, offering them to Buddy. But Buddy refused, saying, "I'm comfortable living like this, drinking the same coffee every day, going to work and repeating the same day." Guy left him to his comfort. We then see Keys, who noticed that Guy's character was becoming more popular. Millie sent a message to Keys, saying, "I tried entering the castle several times to get the tape, but I couldn't. I need your
help." Keys thought about her words. Millie sneaked into the castle again. Keys agreed to help her and communicated with her through a headset. He manipulated the game settings, opened the door for her, and told her, "You have 5 minutes before any players notice you." Millie entered the garage and Keys told her, "The tape you're looking for is on the left." Millie took the tape and was leaving, but the alarm went off because she had stolen the tape. Guards appeared and the tape fell from her hands. Millie hid and tried to fight them off, but failed. The guards surrounded her, but Guy arrived, stormed the place, and easily defeated the guards. Millie was surprised to see him. She was about to take the tape when more guards appeared, dressed as samurais. Millie told Guy, "Try not to die," and the fight began. Keys was confused about who Millie was talking to because he couldn't see anyone with her in the game. Millie performed impressively, fighting fiercely. Guy was amazed by her strength and admired her even more. Someone almost killed him while he was distracted, but Guy handled it. Afterward, the two got on a motorcycle, and Millie shot the guards with her guns. But more guards arrived, so Guy drove and escaped with Millie. Millie failed to retrieve the tape. In the real world, Antoine arrived at his company and ordered the employees to improve the Free City game, release an update, and make Guy's character playable for users. He wanted to capitalize on the popularity that Guy's character had gained. Keys sat down, trying to figure out who Guy was. Back in the game, Guy took Millie to his storage, which was filled with cars and weapons, just like Millie's storage. He told her, "I followed your advice and leveled up." Millie was amazed that he had achieved all of that in such a short time. She asked, "Who are you in the real world, and what do you do for work?" Guy didn't understand her question and kept saying, "My name is Guy, and I work at a bank." Millie thought he was joking. Guy took her out for ice cream, and they walked together. Millie began to admire Guy's genuine personality and wanted to meet him in the real world. Still unaware that Guy was just a secondary character in the game, they grew closer, and Millie shared stories from her childhood. Guy confessed his love for her. Millie developed feelings for Guy, told him her real name, and said she wanted to meet him in the real world before leaving. Keys finally accessed Guy's programming and discovered the story behind his character. He went to meet Millie and told her, "You were right. Antoine stole the programming, the artificial intelligence we created, and my proof is the character Jay. Jay evolved and became a character that acts on its own through artificial intelligence, which is the AI we provided. The development Jay is undergoing is proof of my words." Millie is happy with Keys' words and his discovery of the truth, but she is shocked to learn that Jay is not a real person and is just artificial intelligence because she had truly fallen for Jay. She tells him that she kissed Jay and feels upset that her first kiss turned out to be with a game character. Keys tells her there's a problem they're facing. Antoine has ordered the employees to update the game within 2 days, turning Jay from a secondary character into a playable one. This is a disaster because, in doing so, Jay's codes will change, and they won't have proof that Antoine stole their work. So they must act within the next 48 hours and prove Antoine stole their work without mentioning names. Millie decides to talk to Jay and explain the reality to him so he can save himself. Millie tries to explain to him that this world is just a computer game, and this entire city is a game. She tells him that she and the other characters are real people in the real world, but he is just code and not a real person. She shows him old footage of himself, and Jay feels upset and frustrated upon hearing this. Millie tries to explain that the game will be updated in 2 days, and he will disappear. Jay is distressed that all of this turned out to be an illusion, and that he and Millie are not alike. He walks away, deeply saddened, and runs to the beach, throwing a rock into the water. But here, he discovers that the sea is not real, and there is a barrier between him and the water. He returns to the street, screaming and telling people that this world is fake. Jay gets into an accident where 2 cars hit him. After recovering from his injury, he goes to Buddy's apartment. He asks Buddy what he would do if he found out he wasn't a real person. Buddy replies that he wouldn't be upset as long as he's happy and living his life the way he wants, with a friend and a job. Jay feels motivated after hearing this and asks for Buddy's help to break into the castle to retrieve the video and hand it over to Millie. Buddy agrees, and they go to the castle. They manage to enter easily because Buddy knows the castle guards and befriends them. Inside, they meet a player controlling a character who turns out to be a real person and a fan of Jay. Since Jay doesn't like harming people, he asks the player for the videotape. The player says he admires and loves Jay and gives him anything he wants, handing over the tape. This player in the real world was annoyed by his mother cleaning the apartment and making noise, so he yells in the game as well. Jay and Buddy are puzzled by his behavior and leave. Jay goes to Millie to give her the tape, but Millie wasn't on her computer at the time, so her avatar, Molotov Girl, was stationary and not moving. Jay becomes very worried about her and asks her to wake up. After a few seconds, Millie moves, and he gives her the tape, making her very happy. In the real world, people are increasingly influenced by Jay, deciding to do good missions instead of theft and murder missions, taking Jay as their role model. Antoine enters the company furious because players, out of their love for Jay, have ignored the game update and are playing the old version. The company's sales have dropped by 60%. He insists on restarting the game servers, turning Jay back into an unplayable character who doesn't act independently. Keys objects, saying this will destroy the first AI-driven character. Antoine says it doesn't matter as long as it's losing him money and orders the server restart. At the same time, Millie and Jay are watching the videotape, and Millie realizes the location in the video is a world she and Keys created for the game Life itself. This proves Antoine stole their programming and placed it in Free City. When Jay sees the location, he tells her he's seen it before. Millie is surprised and asks where he saw it, but before Jay can speak, the game resets. Jay watches Millie and all the characters freeze, feeling shocked and confused. He steps outside and sees everything being erased, including the entire game world. Millie is devastated. When the game restarts, Jay wakes up, but he doesn't remember anything because the programming has reset. He resumes his routine day as usual. Millie approaches him and tries to talk to him, but he doesn't remember her. She tries to remind him of the place he saw in the video, but Jay says he doesn't remember. Millie feels she's in trouble because the game data has been erased, and no one remembers the location in the video except Jay. She tries to remind him of the memories they shared, but Jay still doesn't remember and walks away. Millie feels upset and believes there's no hope. But then Keys calls Millie and tells her not to worry. He says he reviewed Jay's programming and discovered that the reset didn't erase Jay's AI code, meaning the Jay she knows still exists. He just needs to remember his past experiences for his personality to evolve and return to how it was. Keys reviews Jay's behavior with her, explaining that he coded Jay's dream girl to match Millie's specifications. So when Jay saw her for the first time in Free City by chance, he felt different and started doing things he wasn't used to, just to talk to her, as if he were a real person thinking for himself. Keys assures her she can recreate the same connection with Jay as before. Millie decides to break into the bank where Jay works, takes him hostage, and puts on the sunglasses. She also kisses him, and at that moment, and on the same day, when a player enters the bank to rob it, he finds no one there. All the players in the street were surprised because there were no NPCs, non-player characters, as all the NPCs were with Guy at the cafe. The waiter started making drinks other than regular coffee, and the players were complaining about what was happening. Antoine was trying to understand the reason, and he discovered that Millie was in the game and often meeting Guy, and they were the reason behind everything. So, he ordered Mouser to kill Millie and Guy in the game. But Mouser said the problem was that the army and police in the game were already with Guy and loved him. They were all celebrating the change. Antoine told him to change the game's codes and try to kill them by any means. Mouser executed the order and made cars and roads move to kill Millie and Guy. Additionally, the respawn feature was disabled, meaning that any player who dies would not come back to life. Mouser tried to kill them in every possible way. Guy was driving a car, trying to escape, and Keys intervened by creating a bridge on the road. Guy managed to escape. Antoine became furious and realized they were heading to the beach. He ordered his team to release a character named Dude, even though Dude's character was not yet complete. Meanwhile, Guy and Millie reached the beach, waiting for Keys to build them a bridge. Antoine talked to Keys, saying, "I understand what you're trying to do. You want to reach evidence that I stole your game." Keys played dumb, saying, "You didn't steal our game."
So how could our game be inside your game? Antoine admitted that he stole their game and told Keys he was fired. Keys didn't care and pressed a button to make the bridge appear. Mouser showed Antoine that the bridge was built in the game. Antoine got angrier and ordered him to shut down all the accounts in the game and kick out all the players. When Mouser did so, Millie's character started disappearing, but Guy remained because he was an NPC. Guy had to complete the mission alone. Keys, while leaving the company, made Guy appear in a live broadcast to the whole world. When Guy reached the game, everyone would know that Antoine was a thief who stole their game. Indeed, the entire world was watching Guy. But before Guy could move, Dude appeared and attacked him. Dude turned out to be a version of Guy, but with muscles. Guy's glasses flew away, and Buddy appeared to defend Guy. But Dude easily defeated Buddy and beat Guy up badly. Everyone in the real world was upset for Guy. Dude then activated a deadly move to kill Guy, but Guy put on the glasses that had fallen earlier, activated Captain America's shield to block Dude's attack, and used Hulk's hand to punch Dude, sending him flying. People were amazed at what Guy did. Guy took a first aid kit to heal himself, then activated a lightsaber to fight Dude. Dude couldn't block the attack. Guy grabbed him and destroyed part of the place with him, but Dude was still strong, teleporting and dominating the fight. He was about to kill Guy, but Buddy got up and threw the glasses to Guy. Instead of wearing the glasses, Guy gave them to Dude. Dude got distracted by what he saw through the glasses, leaving Guy alone. Guy climbed the bridge. Antoine resorted to his last option, destroying the game's servers. When Keys found out, he sent a message to Millie, telling her to go to Tsunami Company and stop Antoine. Antoine destroyed the first server, causing the Free City and its characters to start disappearing. Guy saw his dear friend Buddy die. Buddy told him, "This was the best day of my life, and it was an honor to know you." After that, Guy ran and crossed the barrier before being erased. He reached the Life Itself game and was amazed by its world. Antoine was about to destroy the last server, which would erase Guy, the Life Itself game, and the remaining characters. But Millie appeared just in time, offering him a deal to give her what was left of Free City with its characters. In return, he could keep the programming codes and profits he made from the game, letting her build a new game while he could continue creating sequels for Free City. Antoine agreed to the deal because he loved money. Later, it was revealed that Free City 2 sales were very low due to programming flaws and game issues. Antoine was arrested after his company went bankrupt, leaving him in debt. He had stolen the programming of life itself. Millie, Keys, and Mouser created a new game called Free Life, making it a peaceful game with missions focused on good deeds instead of theft and killing. The game achieved high sales, and many people bought it. Keys invited Millie out for coffee, but she declined and entered the game to meet Guy. She explained to him that she couldn't live in the game forever. Guy understood her perspective and supported her, confessing his love for her. He told her, "I understand that my feelings for you are just programming, but someone wrote that programming." Millie focused on Guy's words and remembered that Keys had written Guy's programming, making his dream girl based on her. She played a video of Keys saying, "I designed Guy to make you his dream girl, just as you are my dream girl. I added Guy's love for the sea, ice cream and coffee, just like you love those things." Millie was happy and realized that Keys had loved her all along. She decided to go to the cafe where he was and confessed her love to him. Keys was overjoyed and they kissed in the middle of the street. And that was the end of the movie. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you.